Well, welcome to Stowmarket Citadel, a place where we love God and we love others. One of the things I definitely miss is worshiping together. For those of you who are able to meet in person with us at the URC, please feel free. It's very safe and you will enjoy our time together. Now, the challenge is we're still not allowed to sing out loud, but we can be together. We will be together at our building soon, but until then, please do not hesitate to come, or if you don't feel comfortable, you can join us online on a prayer Zoom. The band will be playing and we will be partnering still with the URC with different speakers, including myself. We don't know what tomorrow is going to hold, and that's one of the things that keeps us guessing. But I'd like to invite you to pray with us as we head into a new reality. Maybe, should I say, a new thing. We don't know what it's going to look like, but it will be a new better, especially if we plan this and we are prayerful about it. So please join us on our prayer Zoom. I've been calling it our Upper Room Prayer Zoom, and the link will be provided underneath in the description box. Well, let us move into our service today. I want to start with a song that I've had in my head all day. The song is Dare to Be Different. And then later on, for our special speaker today, I have a friend of mine by the name of Danielle Strickland, and she's going to share with you and also share a resource with you. May God bless you, and I hope to see you soon.
Spirit Great, so good to be with you and to be here. Gandhi was a social reformer that really changed the earth in many ways, did a lot of social change in India particularly. And one time he said he would become a Christian if it were not for the Christians. What he meant by that, of course, is something that resonates in each of us, and that is that there are a lot of Christians in the world who don't look much like Jesus. And the question becomes, how is that even possible? What is that about? And I fear in today's world, what we've done is we've created some weird idea of spiritual faith that is just rooted in the idea that Christianity is about what you believe. You know, the scriptures say that even the demons believe that Jesus is Lord. That's just truth. But Christianity, the invitation that Jesus gives to people is to follow him as disciples. As a matter of fact, what Jesus said, the last thing he said to his disciples was to go into all the world and make believers? No. Make converts? No. He said, go into all the world and make disciples. And disciples are people who follow their leader, who look like their leader. And belief is not really a Christian thing unless it becomes a faith, which is belief in action that comes through the act of following our leader and teacher and Savior, Jesus. So the invitation that God gives us is to become followers of Christ. As a matter of fact, the word Christian itself was a name given to the early disciples because they looked like Jesus. They were called little Christs or Christians. And so because they looked so much like Jesus, they were called Christian. That's what the word actually means. Not just some statement of faith they believed, or not just what they said they believed, but actually they looked like Jesus in real life. And so how do we do that? What is that? How does that happen? What is a means by which we can look like Jesus and put our faith into actual action and become disciples? You know, in Hebrew, there was a blessing that the Hebrews used to tell each other. They used to say, may your head be covered in the dust of your rabbi. What it meant was a rabbi was a teacher and that the followers would follow. And the idea was that the followers would follow so closely to their teacher that the dust from their feet would actually hit their heads. You know, they'd be covered in the dust of their teacher. They would follow so closely. And the invitation to follow Jesus is to have the dust of Jesus, even where he walks, what he looks like, what he smells like, cover our lives, to look like Jesus in real life. So how do we do that? Well, a few of us got together, we created a tool. We felt like there was a missing element, even in our own lives, of the essentials of making discipleship, making following Jesus a priority in our lives that happened in our everyday practice. And so we created a tool. I like to call it an engine that can fit into any kind of vehicle, but it keeps that motor running. It actually creates some momentum or some movement to take vehicles. It might be a small group, it might be a relationship, it might be a church, it might be a program. It doesn't really matter what the vehicle is, but it's an engine. It's the means by which the vehicle, it might be your own life, it's the means by which your vehicle can get somewhere, where we can make discipleship from a static activity to some movement, where we follow Jesus in the world. So Infinitum, you can go to infinitumlife.com to check out more if you want, but Infinitum is a way of life. It's a way of following Jesus. There's 3 basic steps involved. One is to make it about Jesus. Really, this is just all it is about, is the lordship of Jesus and becoming a disciple of Jesus. Not a member of a church, not a member of a club, not like some sort of specialized expert, but simply a follower of Jesus, which if you strip away all the rank and all the uniforms and all the layers and all the status and all the, labels that we give each other, really ultimately the ultimate call of discipleship is to follow Jesus. It's making number one in our lives again, to follow Jesus. 2 virtues are involved in Infinitum. This is love and love. It's super complicated. It's crazy complicated, but actually to live like Jesus in the world looks like, he told us, love. It looks like love. It's not that complicated. We overcomplicate discipleship sometimes. There's 2 virtues of following Jesus. It's looking like loving God and loving others, the 2 greatest commandments. Jesus summed up the entire law and the prophets and the word when he said, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your strength, with all your soul, with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. And there's 3 vows. The vows are the foundational pillars. They're the postures, if you will, of what it means to follow Jesus, the rhythm, the method by which we do this in real life. they have postures to them. They're really handy. The first vow is a vow of surrender. It is, you can do it with me if you want. This is the vow of surrender. And surrender is just to say, I surrender, I give up, right? I can't do this thing by myself. And so I surrender to the lordship of Christ. Jesus is my master now. It's a posture of surrender. This is the essential posture of every Christian, right? This is what it means to be a follower. This is how you get into the Christian club. And to be a disciple of Jesus is to surrender your life to follow Jesus. This is great. If you're in recovery, of course, you'll know the first step to any sign of newness of life is to surrender. This is the posture of that. The second posture is like this. It's generosity. This is the opposite of the world's posture, which is a closed-fisted culture. It is to take and it is to keep. If you're listening to the world, and actually if you're listening sometimes to religion, what you'll learn is you should take what you can get and you should keep it to yourself because it is your right. And literally generosity, a posture of generosity is what it looks like to follow Jesus. It's one of the postures that we practice in Infinitum as a way of life, as a journey into the deep, to say actually freely we've received, now freely we give. We're going to be a generous people. Corrie ten Boom, she's a famous disciple, survived the Holocaust and went through all those camps and came out, was a great teacher of faith. And people once said to her, you know, sum it all up. She said, if I summed up my discipleship, it would be simply this: God pried open my fingers one by one until my posture was open-handed before him. We want to be a generous people. And the final posture of Infinitum is a missional posture. It's like this. It's facing out. It's choosing to actually posture our lives to those who are excluded, to those who don't belong. It's a posture of mission. It's to say that I'm going to choose to see and I'm going to choose to act and I'm going to choose to posture my life to welcome those in who don't belong, the least, the lost, and the last. Right? That's the posture of Infinitum. That's the three things that make Infinitum what it is. So how do you get the engine? How do you get your motor running, as it were? How do you put that motor into whatever vehicle it is that you think it might fit to get some momentum in your discipleship and to make this happen? It's super easy. One is, if you haven't yet surrendered to the posture of a true follower of Jesus, which is a life of surrender, do that today. That would be exciting for you to actually not just say, I believe in Jesus, but to actually make a commitment to follow Jesus in your everyday, ordinary life, to be a follower of Christ, to be a disciple. Once that is established, you want to follow Jesus, why not grab a friend? We understand that Jesus never called us to an isolated life. He called us into a community. We become part of a body, part of a fellowship. So you find somebody near you in your local core, in your program, in wherever you're at. Find somebody who also is trying to follow Jesus and say, hey, want to do this together, want to be part of this journey together. It doesn't matter what church they belong to or what layer of hierarchy in religious circles they are. You're both followers of Jesus and you can do that together. You can join infinitumlife.com if it's helpful to you. It's all free. There's some resources up there around those vows and how they work in everyday life and how you can actually practice them. But really, Infinitum is meant to be practiced. It's meant to be installed by the practice of it in your everyday life. And this happens in three easy ways. One, you begin a daily connection. So every day you connect with God intentionally. Some people have discovered that it's really handy just to begin your day with those postures, to say, I want to surrender my life afresh today. I want to live a generous life where I freely receive and I freely give on a daily basis. I want to be intentional about living missionally. I want to see the lost, the last, and the least today. And I want to posture my life to see and to welcome them in. That might be a helpful practice to you. There's a lot of other practices, but a connection daily to say, is my life reflecting Jesus? Am I a little Christ? Am I a real Christian? Am I a disciple of Christ today? The second is a weekly conversation with what we call a hub. It might be a partner. So in my life, it looks like a Skype once a week with someone who lives far away from here, but we connect on Skype around these vows. And I give permission for that person to ask me really personal questions about my faith. To say, are you living surrendered, Danielle? Are there areas of your life that you might actually need to let go of control of right now? Again, because this is the other thing about discipleship, is this a lifelong journey. Sometimes we give the illusion that being a Christian happened one time. in our life, and then it was a sealed deal and it's done. But actually, a one-time commitment to Jesus is just a way in to a lifetime of a journey, a movement that goes deeper and deeper into what it means to be like Christ. And so surrender is not just a one-time occasion, it's a daily occasion. It's an actual active posture that I can practice every day to be more like Jesus in my life. And the third thing is a monthly conversation that you're invited to be part of. This happens through the website. You can get some updates on this. It might be a podcast about a vow that you listen to take you deeper into surrender, or to take you deeper in challenging you into generosity, to practice some disciplines to help you practice those things in everyday life. It might be a webcast where you're invited to actually dial in and give us some feedback of what's happening in your own life. But this is an opportunity to connect also to a global community, a whole bunch of followers of Jesus who are trying to practice this on a daily level. My son Judah loves superheroes, like loves them. He has all the Avengers sets. And so sometimes, I remember one time I was having a conversation with a friend in the living room, and he came in dressed like Captain America. He jumped up on the ottoman. We were talking, and he just said, "Ta-da! I'm Captain America." And we all said, "Oh, that's so sweet, you're Captain America." And he went, and he came back in dressed as the Incredible Hulk, and he jumped on the ottoman. He said, "Ta-da! I'm the Incredible Hulk." And we're all like, "Yay!" And my friend said to me, "How long is this going to go?" I said, "It could be a while. He has the entire Avengers series, But eventually, Judah made his way in his little tighty whities, just a little pair of underwear, and he jumped on the ottoman, and he said, "Ta-da!" We said, "You're..." And he looked at us and he said, "It's me, Judah." This is the thing about following Jesus is we don't need special suits or superhero costumes, or we don't need to add stuff to our life. We don't have to dress up to be like someone we're not. What Jesus wants us to be is ourselves, our authentic selves. He wants himself to be grown on the inside of us, so that actually when we look at the world like little Christs, we're like, "Ta-da! It's me," right? It really is me. I'm the type of Christian that would make even Gandhi want to be one, right? This is Romans 12, 1-2 in the Message to finish up. So here's what I want you to do. The Bible says, God help me in you. Take your everyday, ordinary life. You're sleeping, you're eating, you're going to work and walking around life, and place it before God as an offering. Embracing what God does for you is the best thing you can do for Him. Don't become so well adjusted to your culture that you fit into it without even thinking. Instead, fix your attention on God. You'll be changed from the inside out. Readily recognize what He wants from you and quickly respond to it. Unlike the culture around you, always dragging you down to its level of immaturity, God brings the best out of you, develops well-formed maturity in you. Infinitumlife.com. Infinitum is a Latin word for boundless, and it's inspired by a vision God gave to the founders of the Salvation Army, William and Catherine Booth, of this incredible salvation, so rich and so free, that was going to cover the earth in a spirit of redemption by taking everyday, ordinary people and making them look like Jesus.